Wow. I mean, I know we ordered a lot of paint, but somehow in my head I did not think it was like this much.
Me neither.
Hello.
Hello, welcome back.
Welcome back.
I'm Aladino, and together with my wife Maya, we are rebuilding a Cape George Cutter 36.
Well, we now have a green boat and some finally sunny warm weather. Last episode, we fiberglassed the cabin top. A pretty big step. Our boat now looks like Shrek.
We're working on a lot of different projects right now. The cockpit is coming along with new beams and partitions. The interior is freshly painted, and we're continuing to build out the galley area.
I am so excited to start getting some big aesthetic progress moving forward in the interior of the boat, especially the countertops in the galley. I think it's going to make a really big difference to how finished the boat is looking. And in this episode, we're going to get started down that path. We also have a bit of an unexpected surprise trip planned for the end of the episode, so stay tuned for that. It's something a little different. We're heading out of the workshop for a moment.
I'm gonna give you a little walkthrough. So this one is the chart table top. Then here we have the bulkhead that divides the interior and the cockpit, so to speak. That one goes in place after the fridge is in. This is the famous trapeze that fills in the V-berth, which we had to redo because we did a few changes. Then this one here is the countertop for the galley, and this is the cutout for the sink. Now this one is a little custom because I routed down the edges here so that the sink can actually slide into that. That's a piece of the quarter berth top, that's a quarter berth top. This here is the countertop underneath the fridge, well, on top of the countertop for the fridge. That's the cutout for the lid. And I've laid all the pieces onto the underside now, actually. And then we're gonna flip them, and then the very last coat that we do with primer is on the nice side. And this is all for weatherproofing, waterproofing and protecting, because most of it is on the underside and is not visible, but still you don't want bare wood. So, yep, that's the mission. There's always a few random tasks to complete. We're swiftly moving along with the cockpit. And there is also some more priming and painting to do in the fridge before we continue with the final installation. So all these parts are primed. Now on the table we have the priority things, which are the ones related with the fridge. I want to have these parts painted before putting the fridge in place. Hopefully we can sand them and then start painting, because we still have one can before our big shipment arrives. But if these are done, then we can think about the fridge some more and get it in place, which allows us to close the cockpit. I have tabbed in one more partition. That one there, which will be part of the poop deck or the aft deck. And I forgot to apply peel ply, but that's no big deal. I often work without peel ply. That just means that things have to be sanded. But when it's awkward places like this, first of all, it's hard to apply the peel ply, and often you still get wrinkles that need to be sanded. So I'll just have a little more sanding. So yeah, you see all those little jobs, preparations for all the jobs to come.
Wow. I mean, I know we ordered a lot of paint, but somehow in my head I did not think it was like this much.
Me neither.
So this is the shipment from Epifanes. This is actually crazy. I mean...
Paint and varnish.
Oh, and
Yeah,
varnish.
that's why.
That's why, because last time we ordered 20 cans.
Yeah.
It was still a lot. This time we ordered 25 cans. Like, it didn't seem like that much more. Anyway, we have paint for days, and this is going to finish off a few of the interior pieces, but most especially it's going to be for, well, the whole cockpit, interior and exterior, and the exterior of the boat. Now that the boat is actually all fiberglassed.
Not the hull.
Cockpit forward. No, not the boat. But cockpit forward is all fiberglass, and once we sand it down, then we can apply primer and paint. So, really good stuff. Cool, Epifanes, thank you so much. Epifanes has donated this paint to our project. We are so appreciative, and I mean, you guys have seen the results of this paint, so I think it's clear why we like it. It's just really beautiful paint, and it's gonna last a really long time, as is proven. We used it on Magic Carpet 1. Magic Carpet 1's hull is actually this same two-part Epifanes paint, and 5-6 years later on, it looks brand new. So it's got some good longevity.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, no, I mean, this is the final touch. This is the icing on the cake. This is what one has worked for.
Yeah.
This is the preservation and the, yeah, just top it off with quality stuff.
All right, let's have a look at what we got.
So now over here, this is all paint, and this is for the interior and for the exterior. We chose the polyurethane two-part paint because it is the toughest, the glossiest, if one chooses the gloss version. Which we do not in the interior. In the interior we like satin, so this pile here is satin, and this one here instead is gloss. We do want gloss on the exterior. One other really amazing feature is that Epifanes can custom mix any color. So we have actually chosen a custom color, which is from the raw charts, and the color we chose is 9010. So that is also really awesome. You get the quality paint, but to whatever color you'd like. This here is varnish. You know our boat has a lot of teak. Teak is a little challenging to have varnish adhere to. One varnish that works really well is their PP Extra. So this also is a two-part varnish, and it is very scratch resistant, very glossy, very tough, chemical resistant, and all that. It is the best. But in the interior, since we prefer matte or satin look, we actually do top it up with the rubbed effect varnish in the end. So this one is to build up coats, and the nice thing about it is it dries fairly quickly, so you can apply 2 to 3 coats a day, so you get a quick build up, but then you put on 1 or 2 final coats of rubbed effect just for the different aesthetic. So yeah, that's the system we're going for. This one is a really great build up varnish for exterior teak as well. And then if you want the added UV resistance, then you just add a couple of coats of the very famous Epifanes Spar varnish. But yeah, that's the plan. So there's gonna be painting and varnishing soon. It's been truly amazing to have the support of Epifanes during this project. I spent my precious pennies on it when I was refitting Magic Carpet 1. In fact, I sold a bow thruster that was on the window in order to buy the paint to do the hull, because I take some shortcuts, but that was one where I didn't want to compromise. And I've used many paints during the apprenticeship, and that is just the one that I prefer sticking with for the ease of application for a really high quality product.
For me, I think the most satisfying part of this project so far has been getting the paint on the interior of the boat. And now that we have varnish so that we can continue with the bright work. It's really going to take things to a whole new level, and the look of the boat is going to start reflecting how much work we've actually put into it, which I am really looking forward to. I think it's been really challenging for me as someone who's not a boat builder and hasn't really gone through this process before, to see the boat looking so poorly, even though we've spent months and months and months and months working on it. And soon that can turn around. And speaking of beautifying the boat, there is something else we are about to get started with. Alright, so we've cleared all the paint off the table and now we have something else on the table. If you've been following for a while, you may recognize these and know where they came from. These are slabs of Alaska yellow cedar that we actually got given to us by our patron and friend Arnie. This was a tree that was in his backyard that blew over in a storm, and a few years ago he took us, sorry there's a car passing, it's loud, but a few years ago he took us to a friend of his who has a sawmill. We sawed that log up into these beautiful slabs and then we got to go home with some of them. So these have been sitting in the workshop for months now.
And are dry. Yeah.
Curing and drying. Curing. I
Curing,
don't
like.
know if you can say.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Shall we take a nibble?
Well, and up until this point, we haven't been totally sure how or if we're going to use them, but I think we would like to use them for the countertops in the galley. So the countertops in the galley are going to be plywood, but then we're going to put a somewhat thin layer of these slabs over top of them for the visual effect. So we've just sort of been looking at them and deciding what permutations we would like to cut and how we'd like to do that. We don't have all the tools necessary in order to cut these down to the correct size, but our friend Ken does, and again, if you've been following the channel, you might recognize Ken. He has the beautiful boat Hummingbird 2. He built our drawers and the chart table. He helped us with the flitch beam. He's been a big part of the project at this point. But yeah, first we have to decide where those cuts are going to be made and what we're going to use these for.
I cut the live edge off the planks because that is how I learned it. The live edge is usually softer wood. It has a little more bugs in it and it just doesn't have the same qualities. And also a different color. So that is usually cut away in my book. Of course, live edge tables are a different thing, but not on a boat. So the first thing we had to do to make these slabs useful to us were actually cut them to 6-inch widths, which is what Ken can pass through his table saw to get thinner slices out of it. When we cut up the wood, the workshop smelled really nice. Woodwork is always such a big difference from epoxy and painting. It might seem a pity to be cutting those big nice slabs, but it's really turning to be more useful for us on the boat in this way. It's not structural, so it is decorative. We are cutting down the weight and we are doubling, if not tripling, the real estate, because by cutting it into thinner planks, we can use that same slab 3 times, so to speak. Pretty nice, doesn't it?
It really does.
So now the live edge is gone. We still have a little bit of some wormies eating into it. Yeah, now I'm coming up with a plan, because basically I gotta cut it into planks of maximum 6 inches so that we can actually resaw it and get 2 slices out of this one. But yeah, I'm thinking if I should go parallel or if I am keeping this tree trunk wedge shape. So the wood is all prepared and we're ready to go visit Ken. In the meantime though, I continued in the cockpit and I sanded the fiberglass tabbing that I had just put in place.
I also started on a project that I've really been procrastinating, which is sanding the deck head. This was something that I knew we would have to do eventually, but I've been putting it off. We've replaced over half the beams on this boat, all of the blocking, and the outer, I forget what it is, 10 inches or so of the deck. So all of that is brand new, and we did epoxy coat everything before installing it, but we want to do at least 1 or 2 layers of varnish that includes a UV protection in there just to avoid the epoxy yellowing in the future. I don't anticipate this is going to get a lot of UV light, of course, because it is actually, you know, underneath the decks, so there's not like direct light that's going to be shining on it. But we've gone to all this effort and it would be really nice to have a good looking finish. So that's all to come. Of course, there's so much prep work and it's a slow process, but that's what we're looking forward to, and that's what we ordered in the big shipment of Epifanes, which just came.
For those who don't know, Ken is an amazing character. He is super creative and there is no task he's afraid of. And in fact, he is building his own aluminum sailboat, which is nearing completion at this point. So it's always very cool to check in on his progress. And yeah, he's just overall awesome guy, nice to hang out with. And for those who want to learn more about Ken's own aluminum build project, we'll put a link in the description of his YouTube channel. So our slabs were initially about 2 inches thick. We cut them down to 6-inch width, so then it's a 2x6. And what Ken helped us with here with the table saw is to cut the thickness of 2 inches into 3 pieces. So now we have 3 slabs, or thinner slabs, thinner planks of about 3/4 inch by 6 inches. Ken is a super experienced woodworker. He has done this for a long time professionally. I remember he was telling us one day that, how many drawers did he do in one day? I forget the number, but it was pretty crazy. It was like, oh, this is nothing, you guys. I made 40 drawers once in one day. Or more, yeah. I was super happy with the stack of planks we got in the end.
right, so we are back home and after a really nice day. Thank you again to Ken, who has really become like a huge part of this refit now and has helped us a lot. So we have all of this beautiful timber here, and I cannot wait to start arranging it into patterns and figuring out how exactly we're going to apply it to our countertops. We have a bit of figuring to do, like, do we want to actually keep the sort of shape or look of the original slab and then have sort of repeating slabs next to each other? I don't know if that would look weird, if it would look better to randomize it. We're gonna try a few different permutations and take some photos and try and figure that out. But today is an editing day for me, so I'm gonna be in the house all day, just on the computer. So I'm not sure what Deanie's gonna get up to, but it probably, what are you gonna get up to? Do you know?
Many things.
Many things.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that explains everything. So thank you so much for being here and watching. Extra big thanks to our patrons for making this all possible. If you would like to become a patron for as little as $2 a month, please do. It's what keeps the channel alive, and we post lots of behind the scenes content on there as well. And just to clear up any confusion, the patrons' donations are by default per video, so that's every Friday, so you can, donate $2 per video, but you can also decide how many videos you support per month. So if you would like to just give $2 per month, then you just sign up to support one video per month, and you still do get access to all the behind the scenes stuff, and we are still extremely appreciative of that. So just so you know, it's completely flexible, and we really appreciate everyone over there. Extra big thanks to the names who are now appearing on screen for always going the extra mile to make sure that Magic Carpet keeps being produced. We will see you all next Friday for another installment of Magic Carpet's Refit.
Thank you,
Bye.
everybody. See you next Friday.